Hello everyone and welcome back to Complicated Relationships Reddit Stories. Hope you guys are safe and healthy. Now let's see what the story is about today. Well, in today's story, OP says, I caught my wife secretly messaging her ex-BF and she's still doing it. What now? My wife and I had been together for 20 years, married for 15, and she is a stay-at-home mom. We started dating when I was 19 and she was my first and only serious girlfriend. Her life and childhood before we met was really rough and was much different than my altogether average childhood. She grew up in a dysfunctional household and developed behavioral problems that manifested as things like promiscuity, which resulted in her spending time in foster care. She eventually ended up in prison. She got out, got clean, got a job, started to turn her life around, and met me. We got married, had kids, currently in elementary and middle school age, and now here we are. Fast forward to 2019. I was having a good year. I was in great physical shape and was navigating a major career transition. The career thing was challenging, but it was manageable since my health, my family, and marriage were, I thought, going well. But in the summer, things started going downhill. I injured myself and ended up needing a surgery that involved a long recovery time. Thankfully, I thought I still have a great marriage and a wife to support me through this. And she did. I couldn't have gotten through the first few months of recovery without her. At this point, I was incredibly thankful for her support, and I was feeling good about our relationship, but something felt off. I was feeling too dependent and needy, and I started to notice some changes in my wife that had been occurring over the last year. Here are a few changes I saw in her. 1. She began losing a lot of weight, about 50 pounds. 2. She began focusing a lot on her appearance, buying new shoes, buying new skin and care products, and spending a lot of time on skin and hair routines. 3. Her libido went way up, and we were having more and better intimacy than we had in a long time. 4. She started saying things to me like, if you're going to cheat, please let me know about it first. Well, I have never cheated and I would never do something like that. 5. Earlier in the year, she had asked me if I would be okay with her reaching out to an old boyfriend. We'll call him George. He showed up on Facebook and she'd been feeling bad about the fact that she cheated on him 25 years ago. She never had a physical relationship with him, but she felt she wronged him and wanted to apologize and come to some closure. I gave her the okay to do this and didn't really think all that much of it at the time. 6. She mentioned his name in passing a few times over the course of a couple of months and I started to get suspicious. So, late last year I returned home after a work trip and I looked through her phone. We always had each other's passwords and I found some secret messages between her and George. She had deleted most of the history, but most of the messages I saw were from her. It was a little flirty, but ended essentially with, we are both married and this needs to stop. I confronted her about it and she was immediately super apologetic. She said she started going to therapy, especially because of her challenges with this guy, and she agreed to unfriend him and cut off all communications with him. A couple of weeks later, we had a fight about it again, mainly because I was still feeling anxious. She freaked out, left the house, disabled location services, and changed her phone and social media passwords. She came back after about an hour, but to this day hasn't changed her passwords back or told me the new passwords. A few days after the fight, she went out with some friends. I still had her computer password and the text synced to her computer. So I looked again, and she was texting a friend saying George might be in the area and she might want to meet up with him. So I confronted her about this again, and after lying about it to my face, she eventually came clean. She was not apologetic. She walked back her previous apologies and acted like she never really did anything wrong by just texting the guy. She started shifting the blame to me, saying I shouldn't have looked through her phone and she can never forgive me for doing that. She was saying I've been so needy and clingy over the past 20 years and that she can no longer manage my anxiety by changing her behavior. She is more depressed than she ever has been in her life. All of this pretty much broke me. I've been gradually grieving, dealing with these feelings, going to therapy and medication. I've also been reconnecting with my friends and they have all been very supportive and helpful. But I'm not seeing any major changes from her. She's still going to therapy, but she won't talk much about it, and I don't see her doing many of the things she says her therapist is telling her to do. For an example, journaling, meditating, getting out of the house, exercising, etc. I don't see her doing anything to try and re-establish trust. I know she is secretly texting this guy. I don't know how often or what they are talking about, but I know it's still happening. She seems to think that she can maintain both our marriage and whatever she has going on with that guy. I feel like most of me recognizes that I need to take control and end this marriage, but it terrifies me. I've never really lived on my own, kind of crazy to admit as a 40-plus-year-old, and even though I'm an introvert, I really don't like being alone. I will miss the company, the friendship, the cuddling, the affection, and the intimacy. I know she doesn't want the kids, so I'd almost certainly get primary custody. This is great because I love my kids, but I also have a demanding job that requires travel, so I don't know how I could manage them on my own. I would need to lean on my family significantly. I also have significant assets, and the idea of her getting half of our assets and property, along with alimony, really hurts when she's the one who broke our marriage. Our state allows at-fault divorce, but apparently very rarely used. We still have a great intimacy, which I guess is a historical thing. Whatever it is, I still enjoying it immensely, but it may be a little manipulative because the intimacy makes me feel closer to her emotionally when I'm trying to emotionally detach in order to protect myself. In any event, I made an initial appointment with our family lawyer to see what my options are. So, this post is half venting and half looking for advice. Should I keep going down the path of sort out the divorce stuff in the background and keep acting like everything is okay, i.e. the 180? This is the path I'm on now, and in the meantime, I've been collecting as much evidence as possible of what she's been doing. I don't really like the idea of a trial separation, as I think that will give her more time and space to step up her relationship with this guy. I was thinking about presenting an ultimatum of sorts. That is, in this envelope are divorce papers, and this envelope is a postnuptial agreement. Make your choice. My self-esteem wasn't the best to begin with, and now it's pretty much gutted. That's all OP has to say at this time. It's been some time since the original post, and we haven't seen an update yet. Let's hope we'll see one in the near future. In the meantime, let's listen to a few comments by the beautiful community. Tony 5001 says, "Sorry to hear your story. It's very complicated. However, your last sentence might be the key. If you are trying to reconcile with her, make her sign a postnup to protect your assets and no alimony in case she decided to pursue this guy further. Single condition, no contact of any kind with that guy. Also, for the love of God, please no intimacy with your wife until things clear up." Vaguely Aware 01 says, "Sorry that you're here. Best I can say is, do the 180 but actually do it. Keeping the status quo is not the 180. You need to focus on yourself and kids. Show your wife that you're going to be just fine on your own. The only way to save the marriage is willing to lose it. My ex and I were high school sweethearts, together for a total of 13 years, married for 10 when I discovered how close she was to her coworker. I also didn't think I would be okay alone, but I learned to cook and balance my bank account. I adjusted myself to sleep alone and not having someone to chat with. I grew closer to family and friends and found a new hobby to immerse myself in. The issue with acting like everything is okay is that it lets your WW to continue her tryst with all the excitement and ego boosting while still feeling like she has a safe lifestyle and financial support. So show her you don't actually need her even though you feel like you do. The 180 isn't a guarantee to save your marriage, but it's about you growing as a person. So lay out your boundaries. What are you okay with and what's going to help you to rebuild trust? Let her know what those are, and that is the only way to save the marriage. Do not move those lines. I can't set yours, but for me, at a minimum, it would include no contact with George, no more secrets, and access to the phone again. Also, continue counseling. Please like, comment, and share the video if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you will be notified when we upload the next video. Take care.